Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Northeast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, temperatures across the lower 48 right now. We've got some warmer air feeding northward in advance of a storm system approaching across the southwest. 50s and 60s streaming from the Gulf Coast across Texas into Oklahoma, Kansas, and parts of, eventually, the mid-Mississippi Valley. A little bit cooler as you make your way toward the northwest and the northeast. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s across New England. 20s and 30s as you make your way back toward the Pacific Northwest and parts of the central and northern Rockies, dealing with, of course, much colder temperatures in the single digits, if not the teens in some locations. Now we'll look at the satellite picture here as we get started on Tuesday morning. A lot in the way of low-level cloud cover across the northeast, much more in the way of convective cloud cover producing precipitation across the midsection of the country in advance of our approaching storm system across the midsection of the U.S. And again, here's the radar as we get started on Tuesday morning. We got thunderstorms across the Red River. We've got a big area of rain across the Central Plains into the Eastern Corn Belt. And then on the back side of that, on the north side, we've got enough cold air here for some snow from Denver into the Quad Cities, parts of southern Wisconsin and northern Minnesota, getting some snow here early this morning as well. So it makes sense. We've got some winter weather advisories again in the Denver area off towards parts of the upper Midwest. We are advisory free here across the Northeast, except for a couple of hazardous seas warnings as you make your way out across the coast. Looking at total precipitation over the next 7 days, we've got a big area here expected to pick up at least a half an inch over the next 7 days, and then much of the Northeast should pick up at least an inch as we talk about the next 10 days. We've got a series of storm systems to talk about. You can look at this train just lined up, storm system after storm system here coming in across from the Chukchi Sea through the Gulf of Alaska into the Pacific Northwest and then emerging across the midsection of the country. So as I just animate this, you can see the corridor here, the parade of systems. Let's go ahead and bring this back, though, and show you the trajectory that they take. Here's the first system, the one that's bringing the chance for a couple of strong storms to parts of Oklahoma and Texas today, and then maybe even some severe weather into Illinois and Indiana on Wednesday afternoon and evening. This one lifts into the Northeast, kind of falls apart as we get into the holiday weekend here into Thursday and Friday. But what happens here, our bigger potential story, is this low that gets cut off across the southwest as we head into the weekend. The polar jet stream resumes its very intense flow as we head into the end of the week, into the weekend. And then eventually, if my mouse would stop trying to connect here, we might get some kind of play between these two systems here as we get into the weekend. These two troughs, the polar jet and then our cutoff low, potentially coming back together to produce quite the coastal storm, maybe, as we get into the first couple of days of December. Why do I say maybe? Well, with a very dynamic, complicated situation like this with multiple storm systems embedded within the flow, cutoff lows, polar jet streams redeveloping, potentially reconnecting with cutoff lows, so many moving parts there. With it just even over 5 to 6 days, we've got very low confidence. I'll show you that here in a moment. Again, watching a feed of warm and moist air come northward with this next storm system. That's leading to the chance for some rain, thunderstorms, and snow from the midsection of the U.S. into the Northeast over the next 2.5 days. That's the high-resolution NAM model. I'll show you once again just to time it out for the Northeast. As we get into this afternoon and evening, by around 6 p.m., we should have some strong storms initiating across western Oklahoma, snow from Colorado and Kansas into the Great Lakes. And then as we head into Wednesday, this would be Wednesday morning, maybe a little bit of snow skirting northern areas of New York, northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine to get the day started on Wednesday. But much of the precip waits until later in the day on Wednesday. This would be right around 3, 4 p.m., seeing some of the heavier rain and maybe some thunderstorms pushing into western New York, western Pennsylvania. And again, really, we lose the definition of the upper level wave here as we get into Thursday and Friday. So some of the precip may begin to kind of fall apart. But again, a broad area here generally picking up about half an inch or so of precipitation as we head into the holiday weekend. Where is snow going to be most likely? Again, across northern New York, upstate New York, getting into northern portions of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. We're talking about maybe a couple of inches, maybe 3 inches here on the high side over the next 3 to 4 days. The European model, this will take us a little bit deeper into the weekend and early next week, and I can show you some of the uncertainty that we're dealing with. So Wednesday morning, a chance for some light snow across upstate New York into northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, northern Maine. Again, an inch, 2 inches, maybe 3 inches there. We're talking about minor accumulations. Rain moves in here as we get into Thursday. So Thanksgiving looking rainy across New England. Unfortunately, likely going to be a bit of a cold, gloomy, rainy Thanksgiving Day across the Northeast. Rain tapers off as we head into Friday. Still some light showers possible on the backside there. Just kind of a cold, gloomy weekend continuing as we head into Sunday. We'll get some higher atmospheric pressure in here and potentially some clearing skies. But we again have that second storm system, the potential big coastal storm as we get into the last days of November, the first days of December. But as I show you the issues here, side by side, the European on the left, GFS on the right, you can see just 5 days into the future, we're talking about midnight on Sunday night. Big differences in the placement and the intensity of this storm system. We're talking about maybe 500 miles difference, several states, and a whopping difference in intensity. One where we're bringing some snow all the way down into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas on Sunday night versus being completely dry in that area if you were to believe the GFS. So unfortunately, again, are these two systems going to link up and become, one more intense coastal storm, as the European would suggest? Is this a little bit quicker and weaker, like the GFS would suggest? And that would lead to not getting the big coastal storm here. So just use some caution as you start hearing about this potential big coastal storm as we get into November 30th into December 1st and 2nd. Know that there is still a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things to be worked out between now and then. Total precipitation forecast then over the next 4 days. This will take us through 7 p.m. on Friday. And again, very scattered amounts here, anywhere from a few tenths to maybe a half of an inch of precipitation expected. As we look at the next 10 days, though, the European ensemble, the probability of picking up 1 inch or more of precipitation over the next 10 days, and you get a pretty good, better than 50% chance across really the entire Northeast as we factor in the potential second storm system over the back half of next week and into early next week. So your highs today, a bit on the cold side, 20s, 30s, 40s as you make your way off to the south. We'll warm up slightly into our Wednesday. A little warmer still on Thursday, though we've got some clouds and rain in the area. So a cloudy, rainy day, 40s and 50s on Thanksgiving Day. Clouds and some rain going to be lingering into Friday, 40s and 50s lingering. Looking like we're going to be steady with the 30s, 40s, and 50s here for the next few days, although it looks like maybe trending cooler as we head into next week.